659-235, State of Texas versus Rachel Ruby Jean Locke, L-O-C-K-E.
Yes, Your Honor.
Would Ms. Locke and Ms. Oliva, would you please raise your right hands? Do each of you solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ms. Locke?
Yes, Your Honor.
Put your hand down, thank you. Ms. Oliva?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, you may put your hand down. Ladies, please listen carefully. The rights I'm going to discuss with you, before we proceed, I need to talk to you about particular constitutional and statutory rights that our U.S. and state governments provide for you. The first right that I want you to both understand each of you has is the right to remain silent. That means that you do not have to make any kind of statements. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to submit written paperwork that has your signature, especially any papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Locke?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Oliva?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You also have the right to a jury trial. Each of you individually and your attorneys can, with the state also participating, you can demand that 6 people that you all select from a jury pool, that of random people, that those 6 people hear the evidence, see the testimony and hear it, and whatever materials are submitted, and then decide whether you individually are guilty or not guilty. That's a right to a jury trial. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Oliva?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Locke?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right to what's called confrontation of witnesses, meaning that each of you individually has the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who would testify in your trial. You understand you have that right, Ms. Locke?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Oliva?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have a right that's called the right to appeal. That right essentially is the right for you, yourself, or your attorney, or the 2 of you together, to demand that a higher court review the official record, in this case, the evidence, materials, everything, and hear whatever challenge you wanted to make. That process has to be followed with the right paperwork and the time limits that are required by law. That's called basically the right to appeal. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Oliva?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Locke?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's also a right that each of you has in your own case, and by the way, the state has that same right also. The right to have this hearing and any procedures held in open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing the hearings in the open public courtroom. We're doing them by video conference. Now, as you see on your computers in the courts, the video conference is being streamed on YouTube. So it is, generally speaking, it is in public, but not within what is usually required, which is a open public courtroom. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Oliva?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Locke?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, I'm going to start by showing you each some documents on your particular case. These documents individually on your individual cases are going to have what I call identifying information. That identifying information is essentially repeated on each different document. At the top, it'll have the case number, the state of Texas versus the individual. This document is Kimberly Marie Oliva in County Court at Law Number 5, Bexar County, Texas. That'll be repeated almost like if it was stamped. Case number 652834. Then it'll have whatever the document, particular document, it'll have the title of that document in all capitals and bold print. This particular one talks about the state's consent to video conference. Ms. Oliva, did you carefully review all of these different documents that we're going to be looking at with your attorney, Mr. Gaona?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions that just pop out at you right now?
No, sir. We did speak about it in the room.
Yeah, hi, this is Jim Olchersdorf.
All right,
returning
the
call
first,
on Zoom. Who is
James,
this?
you need to mute yourself, Jim. The first document I showed you, ma'am, is a document wherein the state agrees to video conference instead of demanding a public courtroom, signed by Ms. Morgan for the state of Texas. Then the second document in your case, again, the identifying information. This document is titled Discovery Acknowledgement. There's a particular law that requires the state, that law is stated right there, right under the title there. That law requires the state to share with you and your attorney all the information, documents, receipts, videos, whatever is involved in your case, so that you can make a fully informed and intelligent decision, you and your attorney. This one is signed by both attorneys, the state and your attorney, saying that law has been obeyed. The next document after that is, again, yours, Ms. Oliva. This is, again, the identifying information, case number, name, court number. Then this one is defendant consent to video conference. That's the one where you agree. You see your signature there?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, any question about that?
No, sir.
All right. The following document with, again, the identifying information. This one is titled, you see it there, Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. Mr. Gaona, did you particularly review this document with your client carefully?
Yes, Your Honor.
This one, ma'am, has 3 sentences that start off. They're separated. There's 3 sentences that start off. The second sentence says that you were, you know and understand you were originally charged with DWI with blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher, meaning you were originally charged with extreme intoxication. Then the third sentence says, what does that say? Can you read that?
In the cause, I hereby enter a plea of nolo country to the following allegations, DWI first.
All right, what that means, tells me in the world, is that Mr. Gaona has gotten this matter reduced for you. The original charge was DWI with blood alcohol content 0.15 or higher. You see this number, by the way, the rest of this document is divided into 15 parts, and each one is numbered. The number 1 part talks about what is the punishment for DWI first. There's a vertical stack of little boxes, and each stack next to it has a declaration about punishment for different types of offenses. The very first one is checked off. What does it say, ma'am, as far as punishment?
DWI first, 0 to 2,000 fined and 72 hours to 180 days in jail.
All right, now the second one was the one you originally had. What does that say?
DWI first with BAC of 0.15 or more, 0 to 4,000 fine and 0 days to 1 year in jail.
That's a significant difference. It's almost cut in half, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You understand that? All right. Mr. Gaona, has your client ever had any mental health issues that you know of?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Oliva, I will point out to you that the deal that Mr. Gaona has made for you, which is a very beneficial one, that deal I don't have to accept. By law, I am required to say yes or no. I have to accept it or say no, I don't accept it. I can also give you any punishment within the range of punishment that is actually applicable to you, even if I give you a heavier punishment than you agreed to. However, if I reject your agreement, or I give you a punishment that's heavier than what you agreed to, In that case, the law would allow you to start all over again. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where were you born, ma'am?
San Antonio, Texas.
All right. Number 8 asks about that. It's important that we know the record will reflect that you are a U.S. citizen. These 15 different parts, some apply to you, some don't. There's parts in there about sex offenses and stuff. Do you have any questions about this document?
No, sir.
All right. I see your signature on there, that of your attorney and of the state's attorney. That also happens to have my signature. I've approved it. That'll be all of these documents part of the record. The document you're seeing now is a certification that I make regarding the right of appeal. There is again a vertical stack of little boxes, and next to each box, there is a written declaration concerning the right of appeal. The only one that has a check mark is the 5th one, and I certify to you in that document, it says this is a pre-bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you signed that document
Yes, sir.
already. Now, this document, another document, this one again repeats the identifying information. The title of this document is Application for Deferred Adjudication. Mr. Gaona has particularly gotten you an excellent deal. First of all, he reduced the charge from the extreme intoxication to a DWI first. But then on top of that, he got you an agreement for deferred adjudication. I need you to understand carefully what that is. In this process, you have a question?
Oh, no, I thought I was supposed to answer. Sorry.
No, ma'am. A deferred adjudication is a particular and special community supervision of you. And it starts out in regular proceedings, you would be pleading nolo contendere. That would take that as a guilty, and I would find you guilty. Deferred adjudication, the agreement is that I will not find you guilty. I would be deferring or postponing that. If you live up to 100%, every bit of the conditions of supervision, then the case will be closed and you're not found guilty, you're not convicted of the charge. If you mess up and you fail or you refuse to live up to the conditions, then the state will ask me to give you notice, bring you in for a hearing. And at that point, depending on the evidence, I will be able to go ahead and make or enter a finding of guilt. And I will have the opportunity or responsibility, better, to punish you. And at that point, you'd have the full range of punishment, $0 to $2,000 fine and 72 hours to 180 days in jail. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
The conditions of supervision, of probation, deferred adjudication, those conditions will be read to you. You will sign them and you'll have a copy in your hands. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know and understand what you're telling me in this application when you signed it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Proceed, please. What we're going to see now is what's called a personal data sheet. This one has your personal information, your name, date of birth, all that kind of stuff, address. It says you work for Broadway Bank. You make $16 an hour. You work full time. How long have you worked with Broadway Bank?
It's going to be 3 years in August.
So you're well established there. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'll remind you that all of this has to be truthful. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I just had an issue on the mailing address. I don't know whose mailing address is. I didn't type that in there. It was automatically like pre-filled in there. The Rogerswood address.
Well, I want you to correct that. What is it? What is the address?
It would still be the 7520 Petrango Road as my physical address.
Okay.
That Rogers Wood address, that's my home address. I don't know how that got on there.
Okay, well, I don't either. So, these three people will always know how to find you?
Yes.
All right. You're single, you have no children.
Yes, sir.
You had a Honda Accord?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay, now we're going to reload the computer quickly, and what we're going to do is going to look at what's called the plea agreement. Just have a little patience, we're almost through. This is the plea agreement, the deal that you made. The first two boxes are checked off. Mr. Gaona, you reviewed those with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then the next section is defendant's acknowledgement. There's 5 boxes stacked vertically. Each one talks about your rights and protections that you have been informed of. Go ahead. State has a motion to make officially, ma'am. State?
Yes, Your Honor, the state moves to waive and abandon the extreme intoxication enhancement and proceed on a DWI unenhanced.
Defense?
No objections, Your Honor.
That motion then is granted. So officially, Ms. Oliva, you are charged now with DWI first. To that DWI first, how are you pleading, ma'am?
No consents.
Okay. I'll remind you that a no contest plea is sufficient for me to find you guilty. But I will honor the agreement that you made. First of all, I order you to appear in the offices of Bexar County Court Law Number 5 within 7 days so that you can have your thumbprint placed on the documents that are required by law. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor. Am I able to go today or would I have to wait 7 days?
No, I want you to come in within 7 days. If you could do it tomorrow, of course, tomorrow's Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, the whole week, you come in as quickly as you can. You
Yes,
are
sir.
granted, based on your plea, I find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. I grant you 1 year deferred adjudication. You will not apply for early termination of community supervision. You are fined $400. Now, the deal you made says that you're forgiven that $400 fine. I will not allow that. You're going to pay the $400 fine. I'll explain what choices you have momentarily. You will perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You will, in good faith, enroll in and complete the DWI education program, the TAP evaluation, and follow the recommendations. You will have the ignition interlock installed in your vehicle for 6 months continuously. During those 6 months, you're not to drive any other vehicle other than your own that has ignition interlock on it. Now, the original deal that had been made for you, the fine was being probated, meaning it was going to be forgiven. I don't agree with that. You're going to pay the whole fine if you accept it. Now, you don't have to agree with me. Because I am, in a sense, adding $400, then I am giving you a punishment greater than what you originally agreed to. And if you want to, you can tell me now that you don't accept it. You can start all over again. That is your choice and your attorney. Do you need to confer with him, or can you make a decision now?
No, sir, I could accept that.
You cannot, or you can?
Oh, no, I can accept that.
All right, then Patricia and Ms. Flores see that is changed. The $400 will be paid. The supervisory fee,
Yes, Your Honor.
the supervisory fee will be $47 a month. Any question, Ms. Oliva?
Yes, sir, the $47, how do I pay that, or who do I pay that to?
There's a lady by the name of Marisela Luna. She is the one that will meet with you before you leave right now. Just stick around and she will explain to you what you need to do and how you need to do it. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Any other question, ma'am?
No, sir.
And Judge, I believe she probably took off work today, so I think that's probably why she's asking if she can come in later this afternoon to put her thumbprint on documents.
I believe that can be done. I don't believe there's a problem with that. Do you, Patty?
No, she can come in, Judge,
Very good.
till 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Gona, any questions?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, then. You are excused, sir. Ms. Oliva, stick around on the screen here. Wait for Ms. Marisela Luna. She'll visit with you and explain everything, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Ms. Ruby Jean Locke,
Yes, Your Honor.
we're going to go ahead and proceed on your matter. You understand you're still under oath?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know you've been patiently waiting and you've seen everything that we did with Ms. Oliva.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The identifying information in your case is case number 659235, the state of Texas, Rachel Ruby Jean Locke in County Court Law number 5, Bexar County, Texas. This first document, the title, which you see in all capital bold print, states consent to video conference. Is Morgan signed that? The state is in agreement. As I mentioned earlier, you and the state both have that right. Do you have any questions about that document?
No, Your Honor.
The second document is discovery acknowledgement. This one is signed by the state and defense attorneys. They're saying that the law has been obeyed on Article 39.14, that the state has in fact opened up all the information and acknowledgements to you and your attorney. The next document is yours, where you have personally signed and agreed to the video conference instead of demanding to do this matter in the open public courtroom. Any question about that?
No, Your Honor.
The next document is called Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It has the identifying information as before. This one, Mr. Hernandez, did you and Ms. Locke carefully review this entire document?
We have, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Locke,
Yes, Your Honor.
on this one, read that third sentence.
And, I'm sorry. It's really small. In this case, I hereby plea of no contesting to the following allegations: obstruction of highway, intoxication.
Well, what that means is Mr. Hernandez has gotten this matter reduced from the original charge of DWI to obstruction of a highway due to intoxication. That is a Class B misdemeanor. The rest of this document is divided into 15 numbered parts or sections. The first, number one, is the range of punishment. There's a vertical stack of boxes. Each one has a different range of punishment or different class. What does yours say? There's only one check mark.
Class B, $0 to $2,000 fine and 0 days to 180 days in jail.
And what does number 2 say?
I understand that I have the right to a jury trial, a right to examination of witnesses, and the right to remain silent. I freely, voluntarily waive those rights.
Very good. So you did read and review all this with Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where were you born, ma'am?
Milton, Florida?
All right, the court will note, and it'll be a matter of record that you are a U.S. citizen. Do you have any questions about this document?
No, Your Honor.
And you and your attorney, did both of you signed it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This document that you're now being shown is the court's certification regarding your right of appeal. There are another stack of, a vertical stack of boxes. Next to each one is a description or a statement about a right of appeal. The 5th box, which is the one at the top there, is what I certified to you. This case is a plea bargain case. You made a deal, an agreement, and the defendant has no right of appeal. Was that made clear to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will be signing all these documents. You have signed it, and so has your attorney. Now I'm showing you a document that's titled Application for Deferred Adjudication. This document is again critical because instead of finding you guilty, the court will honor the agreement that Mr. Hernandez has worked out for you. And instead of finding you guilty, I will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I'm not going to. And if you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the case will be dismissed and you're not even guilty of obstruction. It is very important that you know and understand that you have to live up to 100% of the conditions. Those conditions will be read to you. You will sign them and you'll have a copy put in your hands. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if you fail or refuse to live up to all of the conditions as required, and as you are agreeing, then the state will ask me to give you official notice, bring you in for a hearing. At that hearing, I can enter a finding of guilt, which means a conviction that'll follow you the rest of your life. If that happens, you're looking at the full range of punishment. A fine of $0 to $2,000 and jail 0 to 180 days. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You have signed this. Did you understand what you were signing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, the document before you is a personal data sheet. It does not have identifying information, and simply because this is a actual complete personal data on you. Now, your email, is that a correct? Yeah, I guess it is. rlock, okie doke.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you working or not, ma'am?
No, sir. Due to this whole situation that I ended myself in, I lost my job, but I do have an interview later on today for another facility to start working again. I haven't had the interview today yet, but I know that I'm going to get hired.
What kind of income would you be making?
I believe she told me it was starting out at $15 an hour,
Okay,
40 hours a week.
very good. The information on people that can always find you, we got a phone number on Chloe Grace,
Yes,
But-
Your Honor.
but not the full address and stuff. You might need to fill that out.
Okay. I don't know everybody's address, so I didn't.
Okay, then make a good faith effort to find it.
Yes, Your Honor.
You didn't put in your date of birth.
Oh,
All that information has to be filled out. When
I'm
you
sorry.
When you come in, as I will order you to, you need to fill all that stuff out. Are you married, single, divorced, widowed, what?
I'm single, Your Honor. Well, I mean, I have a boyfriend, but I'm not married, and I have 2 children.
And are any of them minors?
Yes, sir. They both are.
How old are they?
10 and 12. My daughter will be 13 next month, actually. So,
Do you receive any kind of assistance, child support, or anything else for them?
yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay, about approximately how much do you get for them in child support?
$642 a month.
Total
Yes, sir.
for both of them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. The rest of this section, you did not fill out. You need to fill it out. Social security number, driver's license number.
Oh, no. I must have missed that whole page. I'm so sorry, Your Honor.
Okay, well, you'll have the opportunity to correct that. What
Yes,
kind
sir.
of vehicle do you have?
I don't currently have a vehicle
Why not?
because when my car got impounded, and I lost my job, I was not able to go get it out of the police impound.
What kind of car was it?
A Maxima, Toyota Maxima green, 95.
Toyota. It's not a the Maxima is a Nissan.
A Nissan, I'm sorry, Nissan Maxima 95 green.
Okay, and what year was it?
A 95,
Okay.
1995.
All right. What you're being shown now is what's called a plea agreement. You notice that it's got your name and the case number.
Yes, Your Honor.
The first two boxes, I will see that they are filled out because the first one talks about your constitutional right of protection of the right to remain silent. The second one identifies you as a U.S. citizen. Then this next section has 5 boxes vertically stacked, and it also talks about your rights and protections that you have. You acknowledge that they've been pointed out to you and you've been reminded of it. Mr. Hernandez, did you review that area with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, the state has a motion to make. Scroll it a little bit, Patty.
Yes, Your Honor. The state moves to amend the information to add count 2 obstruction, and the state moves to waive and abandon count 1 and proceed on count 2 of obstruction.
All right. Defense, any objection?
No objections.
And does defense waive the 10-day notice?
We do.
Very good. Then the 10-day notice is waived and there's no objection. The court will grant the motion. Now, what that means, ma'am, is that you are now officially charged with the lesser offense of obstruction. I believe that's correct, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
To that charge, Ms. Locke, how do you plead?
No contest.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Also known as nolo contendere. You know, we like to use Latin words in our business. Okay, I accept your plea. I order you to appear within 7 days to provide a thumbprint for the documents as required by law in this case. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
I honor the agreement that's been made between you and the state. You are granted 12 months deferred adjudication. You are fined $500. You will perform 48 hours of community service restitution.
Your Honor, if I may, please.
Let me finish this first, and then you can
Yes, sir.
then you can ask me whatever. You will, in good faith, enroll in and complete the DWI education program, the TAP evaluation, and you will follow the recommendations. For 6 months, you will have ignition interlock installed into any vehicle that you have access to. In lieu of that, if you submit the proper and necessary affidavits indicating that you lost your vehicle and that you do not have access to another one to drive, and you will drive no other vehicle, then is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now the supervisory fee, the court will set that at $47 a month. Mr. Hernandez, you wanted to request something.
Yes, Your Honor, this is our plea bargain. However, based on Ms. Locke's current unemployment, and having 2 minor children with not too much child support, I would ask the court to waive the fine.
Did I understand you to say you were going to have a job, Ms. Locke?
I'm hoping, yes, Your Honor.
Do you feel fairly confident about that?
The only problem that I foresee having on the actual ability to get the job is going to be my availability to get a ride.
Okay, well, that's a secondary issue, I'm sure. I am not going to waive the fine, Mr. Hernandez. It's my impression that Ms. Locke is very capable and will do quite well in getting reemployed. If, Mr. Hernandez, if she is unable to obtain the job that we are hopeful she will, if you will come in and ask me to reconsider, I will give very serious consideration to that, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Locke, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr.
My
Hernandez?
question would be what the girl before me, but you told her to stick around and wait, so somebody
That's
would.
correct. You will do the same thing. Ms. Luna will visit with you and inform you of what you have to do to get on the probation.
Yes, Your Honor, I have a
Supervision.
question about the affidavit. Does the court have one for her to come in to sign?
I don't think so. Patricia, do we have one handy?
What was the question, Judge?
An affidavit of non-driving?
No, sir. All the attorneys usually provide that.
Okay,
Unless Ms. Luna has it.
Yeah, I can get one, but as soon as she's in the system, Your Honor, then I can provide one for her, meaning it's gonna be a few days.
All right.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
I can go ahead and place Ms. Luna to confer with those two defendants.
Ms. Oliva and Ms. Locke.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. They're both on deferred. So if you ladies will meet with Ms. Luna, Ms. Garcia will place on and break out shortly.
nothing
Yes, Your Honor.
further.
Not quite this moment, but in a few minutes. All right. Anything else, Mr. Hernandez?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Then, Mr. Hernandez, you're excused. And the ladies, you just stick around a little bit and we'll take care of things.
They're gone, Judge, and I have the paperwork for Mr.
Gregory, or George, rather.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And
I see
Your
Mr.
Honor,
I see Mr. George in the courtroom and there's a gentleman by the name of
Bryce Hogan.
Hogan's. Yes.
Yes, from page 1, and I documented that he arrived at, or he logged on at 10:45. That was Melissa Lesniak's client that you allowed her to withdraw from.
Okay. Mr. Hogan's,
Yes, sir.
where have you been? You were supposed to be here at 9, sir.
Yeah, I was really trying to get to my girlfriend's grandma's house because my phone doesn't work for like Zoom and my car was like messing up, so I had to walk over here.
All righty. We're gonna have to give you another attorney. Appoint one for you. Who we're gonna give him, Patty, do you know?
It's Eric Reynolds.
Mr. Hogan's,
ERICIK, Eric, REYNOLDS.
all right. Mr. Hogan's, Eric Reynolds will be your new attorney. You need to do whatever you can to stay in touch with your attorney.
Yes, sir.
We're going to recall this or reset it for 30 days so that you and your attorney can become familiar with each other in the case. All right?
Yes, sir.
I need Mr. Hogan's to give me his email address on chat.
Do it on chat. Don't do it out here right now because then you'll have all kinds of unwanted visitors that'll no telling what they do and say.
How do you do that?
I just send it to you.
All right. Mr. Oltersdorf,
Yes, sir. Presente.
are you guys ready now?
I hope so. Looks like Mr. George has signed everything, I guess. And
Patty,
he's
are the papers-
standing in front of you there.
So all the papers are in order?
Yes, Your Honor, I have everything.
Mr. George,
Yes, Your Honor.
would you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and materials you submit, responses and information will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. George, you heard the proceedings that we've gone through in the last two cases.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear? And I will repeat all these different rights and stuff so that you're fully aware. You have a right to remain silent. That means that you don't have to make any kind of statement. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to submit written papers, especially papers in which you admit or confess to wrongdoing. That's a right to remain silent. You understand you have that right?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to a jury trial. You and your attorney in the state would select 6 people from a jury pool or panel, a random panel, to hear the case, the evidence, testimony, see whatever materials there are, and decide whether you're guilty or not guilty. You have that right to a jury trial. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to confront witnesses or your accusers. Facing your accusers is the way a lot of people look at it. You have the right, you and your attorney, to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who testified. That's the right to confront witnesses. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also have the right to appeal. That means you and your attorney could demand that a higher court review the official record and testimony and materials for whatever challenge you wanted to make. That's a right to appeal. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You and the state, each one individually, have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open courtroom, right there where you're at. But the entire procedure, people, everything. Now, because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing the full open public courtroom hearing. This is going on by video conference. Is that understood?
Understood.
All right. Now, all these rights that I've just talked to you about, you give those up if you go ahead and enter a plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor,
Ma'am.
Thelma is there by you. She needs your signature on that PR bond you just granted. They're there now to get processed for
Okay.
Mr. Ross's client, Noah Taylor.
Judge, I have a question. Well, not me, but the ladies, Kimberly and Rachel, they said that they didn't have their ID, Your Honor, and they wanted to know if they needed that in order to get the fingerprints. No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because we've already identified them here in this proceeding and they are on video and stuff.
Okay, Your Honor. They just were concerned about that, and I didn't know the answer to that question. So
If they were going over to the satellite for bonding, et cetera, I'd say yes, but not for the thumbprint. We already know who they are. All right,
Okay.
now,
Thank you, Judge.
pardon me, Mr. George, let's continue. These rights that I just talked to you about, you're giving those up when you enter a plea. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, I'm going to show you some documents. You've already looked at them very just shortly, and you've signed them. These documents, most of them, almost all of them, are going to have at the top a identifying information. Case numbers 360453, State of Texas versus Charlie George, and County Court of Law number 5, Bexar County, Texas. This first document is titled State's Consent to Video Conference. The title of each document is going to be, as you see it there, in all capitals, bold print. This document is the one where the state says, yeah, we agree to do this on video conference. And by the way, it's being streamed on YouTube. So anyone who wants to see it or hear it can join in. Do you have any questions about this first document?
Yes, sir.
The second document is called a discovery acknowledgement. This one says that the law that requires the state of Texas to provide you access to and acknowledgement of all the evidence, materials, documents, whatever, videos, whatever exists. This document signed by your attorney and the state's attorney says that yes, the law has been obeyed. The following document after that is your consent that you agree to do this by video conference instead of in the courtroom, the open courtroom. Did you see and understand that? And that's your signature there?
Yes, sir.
All right. The following document, that one is, again, identifying information. This one says defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions. You were originally charged with theft, 500 to 1,500. It says you're gonna, what does that say? You're gonna enter a plea of nolo contendere to that charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is a class A misdemeanor. The fine is from $0 to $4,000 and jail from 0 days to 1 year in jail. Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
All right, this particular document from here on is divided into 15 numbered parts. Mr. Oltersdorf, did you and your client go over this entire document carefully?
Yes, Your Honor, we did.
I hear you, but I don't hear your attorney. I asked him. What are you doing, James?
I got the wrong button. I'm sorry. It's, we did go over it, Judge.
So are you satisfied that he knows and understands what's contained in that document?
Yes, he does, Your Honor.
And Mr. George, do you have any questions about this document? It's important.
No, Your Honor.
All right. And you did sign this, right?
Yes, sir.
Where were you born, Mr. George?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right. Now, somebody tell me something. What is the original date of this charge?
It's Judge, the date is in 2011, I believe. I'm not sure the exact date.
April 25th, 2011, sir.
Mr. Oltersdorf, was this gentleman an absconder or what?
Judge, I don't know the answer to that. I didn't try to dig into why he wasn't in court.
Your Honor, Mr. George failed to appear on June 10th of 2011. And he was not the warrant was not executed until December 9th of last year.
Mr. George, where have you lived for the last 5 years?
Orleans.
I can't
Sir?
hear you, Judge.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
That's where you've been living all this time?
I just moved back in September of last year. I just moved back to San Antonio in September of last year. But before then, before September, I was in New Orleans.
Your Honor, if I may
Yes, ma'am.
interrupt, I'm sorry to interrupt you. This case was, offense date is April 25th, 2011. The defendant was arrested both in Bexar County Jail, April 26, 2011, and he was released on surety bond on April 26, 2011.
And absconded from then on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So the next document, Patty. This particular document, Mr. George, is where I certify to you that you do not have a right of appeal. There's a vertical stack of boxes next to each one. Is a declaration concerning the right of appeal. The fifth one, right there at the top of the page there where you're looking, it says this is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you signed this?
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to reload here briefly. We're going to go to what's called a plea agreement, the deal that you have made. This one says the state of Texas versus Charlie George, case number 360453. The first two boxes on the official documents will be checked off. The first one saying that you've been informed of your right to remain silent. The second one that you are in fact a U.S. citizen. Then you have a stack of 5 boxes, little boxes with a check mark in each one saying that those rights and protections that you have that are written here in that area that you know and understand. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. This section of the papers that you're looking at, it says non-DWI allegations. There is a check mark next to the word theft, which is what the charge was. To that charge, sir, how do you plead?
I plead no contest, Your Honor.
All right. A no contest plea, I remind you, is considered a guilty plea in this court. Is that understood?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. The agreement between you and the state is that your punishment is set at 4 days in Bexar County Jail. 0 fine, 0 court costs. You are granted credit for time served, time and money run concurrently. The court finds that you have satisfied this judgment. And on this case, you know nothing further to the state of Texas or to this court. Questions, Mr. George?
No, sir.
All right. Then the court releases you in this case. You have nothing further to say or do on this matter. Mr. Oltersdorf, any questions?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right.
Thank
Then,
you.
Mr. George, take care. Stay out of trouble, young fella.
I will.